Hey everyone, I am here to formally introduce myself and describe who I am and what I do. My name is Bobby Meeson, and I am a spiritual medium. Now, this is a very new venture for me. I just opened my new mediumship practice under the name Three Eyed Bob, starting really last month in May 2021. And I really just started to embark on this spiritual journey in September of 2020. Now, in reality, it has been my whole life in the making. Just things finally started to come together and align and make sense for me last year. A little bit more about me and how I got here. So, I grew up in upstate New York and I lived there until 2018 when I moved down to the DC area. I do have a full time job as a corporate trainer. So, my office job helps me survive and pay my bills and all of that. Because I do have a full time job, this is really just a pursuit of a new passion that I have kindled. So, how did I become a spiritual medium? How did I start to identify this way? Well, it really has been my whole life in the making, but we can rewind to the time when I was 3.5 and I drowned in a lake. So I had a near death experience at a very young age, and I did not unpack that experience fully until last year. Now, in 2017, I did start therapy, and in therapy, I've done a lot of work to become more comfortable with myself and just sitting with the uncomfortable portions of myself, the undesirable things, all of those dark aspects of our lives. And I've been able to unpack so many things. But in that time, I had not even gotten to this event that was rooted in such an early stage of my development. I started to bring that near death experience up to my therapist last year. And after that is when I started to make the connections about all the times in my life where I have been connected with spirit and just didn't understand it. So, what happened last year was I had a spiritual awakening. And admittedly, this was triggered by hanging out with friends and partaking in some alternative medicines. But, I'm not one of those people that said, I tried this thing and now I'm a medium and I'm just doing medicines all the time and, rambling about crazy shit. No, that's not it. It was just an event that was a catalyst which pushed me over the edge in the sense that I connected with spirit in such an intense way, and I received so much information so fast that it was very overwhelming for me. But some of that information was memory, right? It was memory about the drowning. It was reconnecting with these guides that I kind of felt like I had and I have encountered in my past, but never put two and two together. It was also memory of the life beyond this life, right? So I did get a lot of information just about my soul in ways that I couldn't understand. I couldn't grasp all of the concept I was receiving at that time. So I walked away from that experience pretty fucked up. And you can even ask my friends who witnessed it. It was a wild time. And it was the thing that cracked me open and pushed me to realizing there's something I have to look into. I've got to figure out what the fuck is going on with me, because even when I look back in college and the first time I ever did a guided meditation, which was when I was a completely sober angel child, I never had a drink of alcohol. I had never practiced any type of substance, and I took this quantum reality class. And at the end of the class, when we talked about quantum theory and how it can explain the reality in which we live, our professor said, hey, but there's so many different ways of perceiving reality. So let's go talk to my friend who's a shaman, and she is going to kind of talk about like a spiritual side of life. That was very new to me. You know, I was raised in the Christian faith, and I had abandoned it by the time I left for college. I kind of rejected the organized religion and also just God and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It was a time for me to throw away everything I had been taught. And that was necessary, but it did leave me with a spiritual void. So, moving into this meeting with the shaman and having a guided meditation experience for the first time, it was eye opening to, in the sense that I tripped out of my mind, man. You know, again, completely sober, just transcending, flying around the universe, going to all these different places, seeing these different figures, hearing different messages and things. Um, it was incredible. It was fun, but it was nothing I'd ever experienced, at least in terms of being present, you know, actively experiencing versus passively experiencing as a child. You know, when I had that drowning, afterward, I started to experience night terrors. And now I can look back and say, oh, wow, I was just experiencing visitations that I didn't understand. And because nobody understood what was going on with me, you know, we just chalk it up to he's a kid with an overly active imagination, which was the best situation rather than being diagnosed with psychosis and being treated improperly or whatever. So, you know, that being said, I had been shut down and repressed for many years out of fear. And then coming into this meditation experience, it kind of validated something for me that I always felt like I'm fucking weird. Or there's something going on more that I don't understand, especially when we're done with the meditation and we're sharing our experiences around the room, and I'm sitting there listening to people like, oh yeah, I was calm, or oh, that was nice. I chilled out for a while. And I'm sitting there like, am I fucking crazy? You know, am I mental? Cuz I had just a completely transcendent experience. So, fortunately, I was able to connect with the shaman, and she helped me do a couple more meditations. And at that time, again, I was just doing it for fun. And also, the messages I was receiving was very much about my sexual identity and coming out and owning that, right? So, a decade ago, just getting into college, I was grappling with that. I did own that. I did come out of the closet. And then the next chapter of my life was really defined by just stumbling through the human experience. You know, I finally came out. I thought that was the thing, right? Like, okay, now I get myself. This is it. I started to live my life. And then I got caught up in human shit like, oh, I got to find a career and I have to pay bills and I have to support myself and find a place to live, blah, blah. So I didn't pursue these brief magical moments that I had encountered, right? I just kind of let them happen sporadically over the course of the next couple years. You know, I met a masseuse one time, and he led me through guided meditation. I had incredible experience. I connected with spirit guides that at the time didn't know they were spirit guides, but fast forward, I've met them again, and now I've put the pieces together. But still, I would have these magical experiences and just be like, oh, okay, that was fun, but I've got things to do, right? So putting it off for all these years. Then the pandemic comes around, right? And we're all forced to step back. So there's kind of no coincidence that last year I had this huge spiritual awakening, which shook me to say, Bobby, you have to look into yourself. You know, like you thought being gay was going to just, help you feel comfortable in your identity, but that's not it. There was something more. So, I had this experiment last summer with my friends. I had this incredible experience, and I walked away from that thinking like, oh, fuck, I got to figure something out. That's when I met a shaman, and Eric was great. He's the one that revealed to me that near-death experiences are highly associated with extrasensory capabilities, right? So he taught me that if I was in some indigenous tribe and I had that drowning experience, I probably would have started training immediately to do shamanic work or spiritual work, whatever it was for that culture. So I was like, okay, cool. I guess I got to look into that. I started to do meditations on my own, and I started to have more, experiences on my free time. Again, sober, just alone, meditating in silence. And then at some point, I connected with a deceased uncle of mine. And it was at that time when, up until then, I was having these fun meditations where I was going places and like meeting figures, but it all felt very dreamlike. It all felt very potentially imaginary. But now here I am having this vivid engagement with a loved one who has passed on. And I sobbed. But walking away from that, that's when I knew like, oh shit, I gotta continue to take this seriously. There's something more. So my shaman recommended I see a medium. And the medium he recommended to me, Julie Richardson, was the same medium recommended me by a colleague months and months in advance. So completely unrelated referrals. I thought, I have to see this person. I had never seen a psychic medium before, so I didn't know what to expect. And when I got to her, it was just such a wonderful experience because Julie is just a wonderful soul. I felt like I already knew her. She has structure to her readings. It's not, steeped with unnecessary layers of like mysticism or anything like that. She was very realistic about her practice and the messages that she was getting and how they applied to my life. And a lot of what she was getting was that I needed to pursue some type of spiritual work. And at that time, we didn't know how it would manifest itself. But I ended up taking a class with her, and that's when I learned how to meditate with intention. This built upon some prior meditative experience that I had. In 2018, I did complete a yoga teacher training course, and that was revolutionary for me just in the sense of being familiar with my body, getting comfortable with my body and my breath, with presence, establishing stillness. So I had this foundation, and fortunately I was able to use it to take this other piece of my life that I thought was just coincidental, this like dreamlike spiritual experience, and I could put these pieces together now and say, oh, wow, maybe I'm a medium, right? So since then, I have been regularly practicing meditation with intention to connect to spirit in order to receive messages for myself. And through this process, I have done an incredible amount of healing. Again, I've been in therapy since 2017, and it has been amazing. Again, it gave me the foundation to sit comfortably with uncomfortable things. But the spiritual aspect took it further, because at this point I am connecting with my highest self. I do believe my highest self is source, and that is all of us, right? We are all connected to source, and source is connected to all of us. And through that connection, I was able to start seeing things from my soul's perspective, and I could see other very traumatic incidents in my childhood that I had hid from myself. And I haven't fully discussed those things with all my family members and all of that. So I'm not going to do that here, but I can say that the spiritual experience that I've had has helped my healing process tremendously. And because of that, because of what I've learned in my personal connection, now I feel called to turn it and share with others, right? So I still consistently practice spiritual connection for myself, but now I'm doing it on behalf of other people. My mission right now is to help people heal and better understand themselves by receiving and sharing messages shared through spirit. How does that manifest right now? So I am offering messages regularly. It started off as message of the day. That got a little overwhelming. So now we're doing message of the moment. So the message of the moment is just vague enough for me to share a message whenever I feel it's necessary. It could be daily, it could be weekly, who the hell knows. I am just excited to share messages I get that I feel compelled to, pass along to other people who may need to hear. You can see those messages on my Instagram account or on my blog where I write about them. And that's all great and fun. But the other thing I am also offering are full mediumship readings for individuals. I am going to explain my readings in the next video, so go ahead and check that out. Right now, I just wanted to take this time to introduce myself, explain my story, and talk about why I'm here and what I want to do. So thank you for spending this time with me, and I hope that you continue along with me in this journey, and I hope that you get to learn something yourself. Thank you very much. Stay blessed.